Hello, friends. I hope that you're all doing well. Thank you for joining me for this week's edition of Real Talk Wednesday. So, this week's message is really focused on parents. I really think it's important not only that we have amazing people in our lives that love our kids and care about their well being and will advocate for them, but I also think that it's important that we advocate for our children ourselves. We are the only ones that can do that for them. And so I wanted to share a little bit of our recent journey and my son being evaluated and qualifying for a program called PPCD. I'll start off by saying that we were blessed that his first daycare provider was an amazing, loving, godly, just wonderful woman by the name of Dawn Galloway. She recently started teaching for the Hutto ISD, and she texted me one day to let me know that there was a program through her school that would allow Jamar to receive speech therapy services for free. You see, my son was born 2 months premature, so for the first 2 years of his life, every developmental milestone was adjusted by 2 months. So if he was supposed to do something by 12 months, they expected him to be able to do it by 14 months. Everything was supposed to be caught up, though, by the time he was 2 years old. But when we took him in for his 2-year-old checkup, the doctor asked us how many words he was saying. And at that point, he was saying about 10 to 15 words clearly that we could understand. But the doctor explained to us that he should be able to say 50. So there was a little bit of delay there. That was hard to hear. It was hard to receive, but he did say early intervention is the best. So he recommended that we start him in speech therapy. So from the time that he turned 2, by the end of he turned 2 February 15th of last year, and by the end of February of last year, he had started speech therapy. So he's been in speech for over a year. And he's been progressing really well, but just hasn't seen the gains that we would have liked for him to see. And so when Dawn texted me and said, hey, he could receive free services and he could receive them every day, I was like, okay, well, let me at least check into it. So I set up an appointment and I went and sat down with the director of special education. PPCD stands for Preschool Programs for Children with Disabilities. I did not completely understand that until I got there. And because there are such strict guidelines that they're under by law, she was very, very blunt and clear with us that he has to have his speech be so delayed that it's considered a disability for him to qualify for these services. So that was like a mixed bag for me, because on one hand, it's like, yes, he needs consistent daily services. How much would that help him grow and learn and be better? But on the other hand, receiving the services is the admission that his speech is so delayed that it qualifies as a disability. And I'll just be honest, I think that part of that for me was maybe just a pride thing. Feeling like I'd failed him in some way, or hadn't done enough to help him catch up with his speech. Maybe we hadn't been reading to him enough. Maybe he watches too many movies on the iPad, or whatever it was that I'd done that caused him to not be where he needed to be. So it made it difficult to swallow. But I understood, my husband and I both understood that speech is important. And if he doesn't catch up with his speech now, it's going to affect him being able to learn how to read, which is then going to affect him being able to just learn in general, whether it be in reading class, in English, those types of things, social studies, math, all areas. He has to know how to read, and speech is foundational to that. So we decided to get him evaluated, and in doing so, we were able to get a second opinion. We'd only ever been to one speech therapist to get him evaluated. Now we had a team of people evaluating him on all areas of his development, which is something that we didn't even really expect going into it. But they were able to give us a full perspective of how he is doing developmentally, not only where he is, where he should be, and really help us understand how he can best be served to advance. And so he got accepted into the program. And what that means for him is he's going to have an opportunity to go and be in a classroom 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, at our local elementary school. In that class, there are only 3 other children, so he's going to be the 4th. They are all working on speech development. There's 1 special education teacher and an aide. And I think that's just going to be amazing for him. I cannot wait to see how much he's going to be able to develop, having so much consistency and so much constant focus on his language development, his articulation, his understanding when we ask him questions. So I'm really excited, but it took me some time to get excited. I think that it was hard for me to accept that he might be labeled as special education. I don't have anything against special education. I think that special education teachers are amazing. To me, they're superheroes. Some of the special education teachers I've had the privilege of working alongside are some of the most amazing men and women that I've ever had the privilege of knowing. It's a gift to work as a special education teacher. But I do know that when I worked in elementary schools, that there's sometimes an over-identification for special education services in African American boys. They are over-identified as ADD, ADHD, ODD. And so I didn't want him to fall into this category that was going to stick with him and stigmatize him. And really, I think a lot of what I was concerned about is it hurting his self-esteem. I don't want him to see himself ever as being less than. It's not even necessarily about being different. I'm okay with different. I think all of us are different and unique, but I don't ever want him to be put in a situation where other kids are going to treat him like he's not good enough. And so that stigma I had to wrestle with. I had to really come to terms with what special education is, the amazing service that they provide, and it's really a program that's put into place to help kids thrive. And if they get in early enough, it can really help them just to be successful long-term academically. So we really thought about it. We did our research. We prayed about it. We asked people. And we were able to kind of move past some of those apprehensions. And now he's going to be able to start the program. We have a meeting set up next week with his new teacher and his new principal because he's going to be in school, which is kind of exciting. And it's only 3 hours a day, so he'll still be home with me most of the time. But he's going to have this really focused care and attention on helping him learn how to speak better and understand. And so I'm just excited. I'm excited that we got past the hump, that we got out of our own heads and realized that this is something he needs, so why not go for it? And I think that's really why I wanted to make this video, because one, we were blessed to have Dawn in our lives that could recognize that there was a service out there that could help him, and she cares about us and cares about him enough to make sure that we knew about it. And then also understanding that if we don't get him the help and attention that he needs, nobody's going to do it for us. We have to advocate for our own kids. And as a new parent, a first-time parent, I think it can sometimes be scary because we don't know what they should or shouldn't do or know or where they're at. And it doesn't hurt to get an evaluation. It doesn't hurt to get a second opinion. So I just really wanted to encourage the parents out there that if you have any concerns whatsoever, please ask. Ask your pediatrician. Ask other parents. Ask teachers at your kids' schools. Find out what is available and then go after it. And make sure that your kids get evaluated and are, able to at least have a chance to receive anything out there that could help them do the best and be the best that they can possibly be. Because that's really our responsibility as their parents. So thank you all so much. That's my story for this week. Thank you all so much for tuning in and for supporting my vlog. I hope that this helped someone out there. Again, a very special and huge thank you to Don Galloway for recommending this to us. We cannot wait to see what it's going to do for our son. And so thank you all again for watching, and I will see you all next Wednesday. Thanks.